A good afternoon or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast. In this episode of the Crusty podcast for this Tuesday, 7th of May, 2024. More bloody deflections. Yes, in the news today, everyone's worried about Drake's little feud with this Lamarr guy and an update on the Hamas and Israel or IDF agreements. All that more come at the show. Please stick around. Listener review discretion is advised because I do swear and make funny gestures. I might smoke a cigarette or two or just carry on as per normal. See you in a bit.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 277 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. And it's beautiful 7th of May, 2024. This podcast is also brought to you in part by and supported by Veterans for Freedom Network. Stand to and coming soon, Veterans for Freedom TV. That's right, yours truly and many other veterans will try to get a network together and have a show for you all to see at your leisure. How's it going, everybody? I am your host, Crusty Canuck. Welcome to the podcast. My apologies for my absence there on Sunday. I know I said I have an episode on Sunday, but the past couple of days, I have been fighting this really weird virus. My sinuses are aching. My head's throbbing. I didn't puke, thankfully, which is good, but I just been feeling under the weather. So maybe it's because it's springtime. Allergies are working overtime. I am 50 years old. So, a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and more broke. Anyway, that's a different story. I'm not getting sympathy here, ladies and gentlemen, but if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this podcast all over your social media platforms too, if you can. Just think about us veterans and us Canucks who are trying to get our words out there before the federal government of infinite wisdom and wokeness tries to censor us. Anyway, carrying with today's episode. More bloody deflection. So basically, just off the top of my head, I got a couple articles here I'll show you, share with you, ladies and gentlemen, in a timely manner. But all I see in the news today is all about Drake and his feud. And I guess a security guard of his got shot in Toronto there today. So I'm not belittling anybody who gets shot. I've been shot at. I know what it feels like. I know the fear. Little surprises come and go. But I do feel bad. Hope that guy has a speedy recovery. However, it makes you think, what are some of these artists doing on the side that would influence somebody to go to your place of residence or one of your residences to take shots at your staff or to take a shot at you for any reason at all, right? Now, I remember back in the 90s where they would emulate the image of gangster rap and street thugs and all this shit. And I'm not a big fan of rap. I don't mind good old-fashioned, how do you say, right from the heart rap, like Public Enemy, some of the stuff they did, some of the crude stuff that Two Live Crew used to do back in the 90s, right? I remember that because it was just in your face, and it wasn't just gangster. It was just guys who grew up hard and just wanted to have fun. So that authenticity that I find with a lot of modern music today is fucking gone. Everybody talks about Taylor Swift as she's some great genius. Well, I'd say she is a talented individual, but now, regardless of how much money she has or who she dates, because most of her song catalog is based on how many guys have broken her heart, you would think you would learn something out of all the heartbreaks. And you'd learn, but now let's just use that as the thesis for every fucking song this woman sings. And Katy Perry did the same thing. Lady Gaga's done the same thing. Regardless of how you approach these artists or not, they're no different than what Madonna was doing, what Tina Turner was doing. But Tina Turner was her own class act. As far as I'm concerned, Tina Turner was a goddamn diva because she paid her dues. And I'm not just talking through music and through being last in the pecking order of things, how she was raised, how she was treated by her ex, how she was treated by people, and how she overcame that and created a great legacy. I would like to see artists like that too. There's friends in my life, okay, that have written songs, that play some wonderful guitar and play trumpets and play piano and drums, fucking xylophones, for God's sakes. And you look at some of these individuals, why aren't they getting ahead with certain music? Why aren't they getting ahead? They're not getting ahead because they're not part of the clique, or they're not part of the group, or not part of the narrative. They're not going to sell their souls, for lack of a better term, to get ahead. Their integrity is far too important. But gone are the days where, you can still buy CDs, you can still buy cassettes. Some artists still put them out for the sake of nostalgia. You can still buy vinyl. But you're not seeing the genuine excitement of seeing an artist. Now, maybe it's because of the age gap, right? But in the same sense, I remember going to shows, whether it be dive bars or actual venues, and seeing a great band kick ass and take names, because not only was their bread and butter, it's because their integrity and what they believe in what they're doing. Am I saying Drake and Kendrick Lamar don't believe what they're doing? Well, I really don't care, because that's not my forte. I'm not big into rap per se. Just what I above mentioned. I can appreciate certain groups like Public Enemy, right, and Two Live Crew, because they stuck by their morals. And they stuck by their morals and their scruples, and they did their thing. Pardon my blackouts here. I've been having some sneezing fits the past day and a half too. Like I said, my allergies are kicking in, so it's got to be something with the weather. However, when I look at all this hype that's going on about Drake and Kendrick and all these terrible things that are happening to the world, it's a basic deflection, just like the title card says, ladies and gentlemen. The title card says itself, more bloody deflections, right? And that's what it is. Do I care? Do I want anything bad to happen to those artists? Not entirely. I don't wish any kind of pain or death on them, but they're not as genuine as, let's say, what Ice-T was or LL Cool J was back in the day. There's no real genuine feel to this. They just sing whatever, grab their balls, blah, 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 and they're super rich. Okay, because they make lots of money and they've committed something, and that's fine. And let's keep worrying about these feuds. I remember a couple of years ago, there was a feud with frickin' there was, I think, a feud with Taylor Swift and Katy Perry. Like, who cares? Who cares? If you have trouble sleeping at night worrying about the plight of Drake or the plight of Mr. Lamarr or the plight of Taylor Swift, or the plight of Katy Perry, I think you have problems that are bigger than you can handle. And you should really talk to somebody about that.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You're back to episode 277 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. More bloody deflections. That's right. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Once again, I apologize for being absent the past couple of days. I have been just, my sinuses are just working overtime. So I've got Sudafed. I got all these wonderful little drugs I can take to make me sleep better at night, make me feel good. But needless to say, it's just these allergies take me for a wallop. Wow. So anyhow, I'm not going to dwell on this. Here's an article from Forbes. I tried to find some Canadian articles there too. There was something on the CTV about this, and still, like, all day, it's just garbage after garbage after garbage. So I'll leave this link in my description for you, ladies and gentlemen, if you decide, if you want to. You don't have to read it, but, just to see what I'm talking about, keep my points up and everything, just to keep it secure and keep it real, right? So this is from the Forbes magazine. I'll just display it here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, here we go. They got a whole timeline about his feud. I'm not going to go through the whole timeline. I'm just going to talk about what happened, let's say, on the 6th and the 7th. Needless to say, I remember Drake on the Degrassi Next Generation. That's where he got his cred, I guess you could say. Excuse me. That's where he got his street cred, and he's also a guy that comes from very, very so-called humble beginnings, but he's never had to really vie or fight for anything other than, here's stardom, enjoy it, right? So apparently shots were fired outside Drake's Toronto home early Tuesday, days after Kendrick Lamar used an image of the house as cover art for his song Not Like Us, as a long-running beef between the pair has been heating up over the last month, with diss tracks alleging an affinity for underage women, secret children, and infidelity. I wonder if there's any connection to the whole Diddy scandal, eh? Who knows? We'll see. Interesting. Anyway, as of today, a security guard was shot outside of Drake's sprawling Toronto estate early Tuesday morning in what police told CBC was a drive-by shooting. It's unclear if the shooting was related to the big beef between the two artists, though Lamarr used a Google Maps image of his rival house to cover of his latest diss track, or if Drake was home at the time. Neither artist has reacted publicly to the shooting. Now, on May 5th, Drake denied Lamar's latest claims about his history, and flat out stated, I've never been with no one underage, in a Sunday night release called The Heart Part 6, in which he says he and his team purposely fed his adversary false information, including about a secret daughter, in hopes he'd use it in a song. We plotted for a week, and then we fed you the information, a daughter that's 11 years old. I bet he takes it. So basically, they're screwing around with each other, just being dicks. Who cares? Who really gives a shit? I personally don't give a shit. I'll leave this article in the description for you, ladies and gentlemen, for you to decide and what you want to do. I'm not one to always talk about celebrities, but I find that every time you listen to music or you watch an artist, you watch a movie, there's always some kind of hidden agenda behind it. There's always some kind of social justice warrior aspect, some kind of feud. Who's got a bigger dick? Who's got a smaller dick? Who's got a wider vagina? Who's got a smaller vagina? Who the fuck cares? Shut up and play your guitar. All right? Shut up and play something. Do something. Contribute something to the plight of modern music today. Right? Don't be wrong. There's a lot of great rock bands out there that kick ass and take names. Metal is coming to resurgence. There's some bands out there that are basically taking the styles from the 80s hair metal bands, turning it up a little bit, adding a little more bass to bring out some great rock and roll. Some old artists from the 80s are still touring, whether they want to do it for the sake of money or not. I just saw something with Def Leppard there on the Facebook feed there last night. It's like, oh, okay, they're still touring. Not that I really care. Mick Jagger is still fucking going at it 80 years old. So you're still seeing some musicians out there that have a fan base to get things done. Right. But no, we have to listen to this garbage and worry about Drake and Lamarr and all the other individuals that have a beef with somebody. Just write your songs, get your music out there, get your words out there, and just treat your fan base, people that buy your music, with a little more respect, rather than bringing in your fucking drama to the spectrum. You know what I mean? And, I don't want to shit on a fellow Canadian, especially a Canadian artist, but he's doing okay, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of these artists are doing okay. My concern is with certain fucking groups that work and put all this money into making a great disc or a great LP or a great cassette or any kind of recording for you, the fan of said genre, and they get paid fuck all in return. That's what pisses me off. I'll save that for another episode, ladies and gentlemen. But one more time, if you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, share this content all over your social media platforms too. Thank you very much out there to my new subscribers. I've had a few come around the past week. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Fantastic job. Fantastic effort. I'm noticing a few more Americans signing on from California, the Carolinas, Virginia, Massachusetts, Illinois, Oregon. I've had some from Vermont, New Hampshire, Delaware. Thank you very much to my American friends and the people who have downloaded any of my episodes or my recent episodes. Thank you once again to my friends in Britain. I noticed I had about 25 downloads out of Britain, so thank you. A few in Australia, too. 10 in Australia. Fucking A. That is great. I am really pleased with that. Thank you very much. I'm even getting some from China. Interesting. Should I be worried? Interesting. But I'm not too concerned. I don't care. You don't like what I have to say? You don't have to listen to the show. It's that simple. But thank you once again to everyone who has downloaded my show from Podbean. So you can find all my links in my description if you want to check out my show via Hear the Tube or Rumble or in the Podbean app or whatever else you get podcasts too, ladies and gentlemen. Just watch the little red line there at the end of your screen where you can find my podcast. Just look for the Crusty Canuck podcast. You might see my mug or my logo. Just click and enjoy. Okay. Anyway, carrying on with this episode too. There's an agreement that has come to us, the masses, in regards to an agreement with Hamas and the IDF. Yes, apparently they've reached a tentative deal. Apparently, I saw it on CTV this morning. I saw the story, but I can't seem to find it on the tube page for some reason. I guess they're too worried about Drake and this poor security guard getting shot. But here is something from MSN there. It's just an article. I will post it for you in the description. I will read some of it for you. Correction, it's from the Washington Post. My mistake, but it's brought to us by Microsoft. So Hamas agrees to tentative deal to free dozens of hostages pending Israel's approval. So Hamas has agreed in principle, and Israel is now considering proposal for the release of at least 50 women and children among the 240 foreign and Israeli hostages being held by Hamas in Gaza, according to an Arab diplomat familiar with negotiations. I'll just clear this up here so you guys can read along if you like. You know, have a big sing-song. Too bad I don't have a bouncing ball there so you can follow along properly. But you know what I'm saying here. Anyway, long story short, in exchange for the hostages, Israel would agree to a 3 to 5 day pause in place, quote unquote, in the fighting, increased humanitarian aid to Gaza, and the release of unspecified number of women and children held in Israeli prisons. Okay. Amid reports that the agreement on at least some components of a deal may be near U.S. officials and other interested parties spent much of Wednesday awaiting word from Israel, where internal discussions were said to be underway. Biden speaking Wednesday in a news conference after his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Oh, he's one of our favorites, isn't he? He calls Justin Potato. Oh, my God. Said that he was deeply involved in negotiations over a hostage release with Israel and the government of Qatar, which is serving as a go-between for Hamas. Qatar, Hamas, Qatar. It sounds like a restaurant. Anyway, I'm mildly hopeful, President Biden said. Rocky Road. Oh, my God. President Biden said in response to a question, he said he was not considering any U.S. military involvement in rescuing the captives. Instead, Biden said he was working on how I can be helpful in getting the hostages released and have a period of time where there's a pause long enough to let that happen. Okay, so what I'll do, ladies and gentlemen, is I will keep this in my description for you so you can read it along. A lot of it to me is just verbal diarrhea and pandering. Verbal diarrhea and pandering, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting a lot of that. All these word salads and everything in regards to what's happening here, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of word salads, a lot of BS, a lot of what ifs, not what is. Now, you've heard me rant on before. Hamas attacked Israel. Hamas, not the Palestinian people, right? Not allies, the Palestinian people, but Hamas. And when you're looking at all these campuses, not just in Canada or the United States, but you're seeing it in Britain, you're seeing it in Australia, you're seeing a lot of it in Western countries where they're being sympathetic and they're not really caring, about the repercussions of these protests. Repercussions meaning that I'm not against anyone speaking their mind. I'm an advocate for free speech. Free speech, absolutist, right? But what are you protesting? It's not fair that some powerful guys are kicking asses of some not so powerful guys. But there's a lot of TikTokers out there who saw some of the nasty footage that Hamas was putting online, what they were doing. There's some nasty footage out there that people have taken while they were saturated with Hamas and put it online. Like they were trophies of some sort, like they were here to help, like they're here to do things. Oh, look what we can do here. Look what we're doing there. Oh, let's kill this person. Let's kill that person. Allah Akbar, all that good stuff. And there are college kids in both of our countries, Canada and the United States, that are promoting that kind of fucking behavior. And for what? Right? So to anybody that's watching this podcast and feels they're compelled to engage me in a conversation, stop blaming Jews, stop blaming Muslims, stop blaming Christians. Blame the ideologues that conjure these ideas and try to bring it out in the open. Okay? Look at all the protests that have gone on the past 5 years in the name of George Floyd. As far as I'm concerned, nobody deserves to die in police custody. I can understand why that city was upset, but setting it on fire and looting businesses and destroying property, that's going to make it better. I can understand why people are upset when they found the apparent graves, because no one's allowed to dig yet when they used the ground penetrating radar on the old sites of residential schools. Why aren't they digging, finding the truth? The protest over that, where people got together, and that's just not the First Nations that were outraged. It's your typical white liberal Karens and Carls getting together and fighting the good fight to topple down statues. Why is there so many protests in Toronto now over a street name or a name of a university? Right? It's a constant catering. We have to find something to bitch about. Why can't we bitch about the democracy in this country? Why can't we bitch and complain and protest about how our government has treated Canadian citizens? Oh, that's right. They tried that back in February 22. Look what happened. Eh? So you have the powers that be that are sitting there saying, we believe in democracy, we believe in freedom of speech, we believe in all these wonderful things, but we have to agree with it first. Okay? How about the people that were willing to lay their lives down for this country? And to all surviving World War II vets and surviving Korea vets, and to some of the brethren I've had the honor of talking to the past 6 months who served in Vietnam, who were from Canada, picked up and joined the American services and kicked some commie fucking ass, what do you think we're going to say to you? Now, it doesn't matter if these vets are 100 now or in their 70s now or 40s or 50s. There's a lot of anger in Canada right now. And to my American friends, I'm sure there's lots of anger in the United States too, the way things are going with inflation, cost of living, gasoline, all in the name of the trees and the rivers and everything else out there. Oh my goodness. Right? Where's the outrage when a lot of Muslims were being slaughtered in their civil wars? Where was the outrage when ISIS was doing its thing back in Syria? Where was the outrage where the Yemenis were being slaughtered in their civil war? Where's the outrage when there's another goddamn civil war in Sudan? Right? Christians and Muslims alike being slaughtered, all in the name of their ideas. Where's the outrage there? Right? So people are picking and choosing what they want to fight for, picking a little virtue to say, I'm doing my part. You do your part when you sacrifice some time and effort doing something bigger than your heart or bigger than your fucking avocado toast. You do your part when you put your ass on the line like a firefighter or a police officer confronting a criminal, whether that criminal's high on crack or meth or just pissed off and he's armed to the tits. Hey? Perspective. So to these kids out there, if you happen to be watching this podcast, okay, I'm going to quote William Shatner. Get a life. Okay? Because none of you have the guts to get up and actually hold a rifle up and fight the good fight for what you think it may be. You know, you'd rather sit in campus. You'd rather sit in a campus and promote this whole called victim narrative and say the plight of this is happening because, or the plight of this, oh, colonialism, oh my God, you know, white nationalism, oh my God, all the big buzzwords, rejecting, conjuring up, regurgitation, all saying the same thing. Your opinion doesn't fucking matter. Get up and do something about it. If you're so involved with the program, get up and do something. Are you willing to pick up a gun and fight the bad Israelis? Are you willing to pick up a gun and fight the bad Hamas? What are you going to do? Instead, there are students that spend a lot of money to go and get a post-secondary education on all these campuses across Canada and the United States, in Britain, Australia too. And the last thing they want to deal with is some professional cry-bully shaking their bony little fucking I identify as hand in their faces and being told they're worthless or being told they're stupid. Okay? We're seeing the anti-Semitism full bore on the evening news. Doesn't matter if you're in the States or in Canada. And yet you want to stop hate speech. You want to stop hatred and division. And yet you encourage that division. So which is it? Special kind of stupid, I guess, eh? Yeah. I guess your mama's had faces for radio too.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 277 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. And if you'd like to hear you see, please click like, subscribe, share this content all over your social media platforms. If you can, please do. Don't forget to give me a good thumbs up, click like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't forget to comment too. Help us Canucks get our words out there. And wherever you see me around the globe, please check out my show on the Tube or in Rumble or wherever else you get your fine podcast too, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, carrying on with this episode about the Hamas and all these other issues. I remember when the first Gulf War happened back in the 90s and how the lines were crossed, how division was there, how it wasn't there, and how the media had a heyday with a lot of the attacks and the bombings and the Scud missiles and, oh my goodness, and what Saddam Hussein was doing and the satire and the comedy that went on thereafter. And that war ended pretty quickly, right? And there are people that do suffer from that war still to this day. However, that gave you insight on how the media likes to mold, shape, and manipulate in every which way they can. Doesn't matter if it's the big broadcasters down the States, the big broadcasters here in Canada, or the big shots in Britain. What matters is that they try to exaggerate a lot of points, justify it. And in this country especially, a lot of our mainstream media has been bought and sold and paid for by the federal government, i.e. means the taxpayer. So you'd think all the taxpayer dollars that have gone into newsprint and into some stations and into the CBC, you would think the CBC or other conglomerates and parts thereof would cater by telling you the truth. But they won't, because they still got to get paid. This last budget has this last federal budget has proven that CBC is getting another $42 million, while people that have $250,000 in capital gains are going to get nailed royally in the name of taxes and fairness, generational fairness, right? And of course, the mainstream media eats it all up. I wonder how many bigwigs in the CBC, CTV, and Global alike are going to have to pay their fair share when it comes to tax time. I still haven't filed yet, ladies and gentlemen. Not that it matters. I will file soon, just so the powers that be don't give me a hard time and threaten me with some really bad things, like more goddamn fines and more excuses on why they have to suck the economic integrity out of working class people such as you, such as myself, such as my wife, and everybody else that does 40 plus a week. You know, I could go on for hours about this, but I'm still digressing. Anyway, this has been another episode of the Crusty podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Do what you can to help you out in these trying times. Do not be afraid to speak out. If we got to speak out, do it now, right? My friends at Northern Perspective and Radioreaction, they are doing a letter campaign to a lot of the NDP members of parliament, as well as some liberals too, saying how this budget really sucks. Do it. I've done it. I've sent emails, mind you. But that's the best way we can do it without actually protesting and stopping traffic and putting up tents on campuses and talk about the unfairness. You know how it goes. You know, let's have some avocado toast and talk about our lives, shall we? Okay, where's the drum? Let's smoke a joint. Oh, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Anyhow, before I blow a gasket here with some of the buffoonery that's been bestowed on us every day, like I say, just do what you can to help you out in these trying times. Weather is getting better in this area, so if you're watching me locally, just keep everything sealed up. It's been raining, so ground is getting softer. That means the farmer's going to have a good chance getting their crops in, and there'll be some good food, hopefully, by the fall. Unless it's too bloody expensive, who knows what's going to happen. But like I said, I've been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 7th of May, 2024, ladies and gentlemen. I wish good things for you all. Do what you can, help you out in these trying times. And always remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I will see you this Friday. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthy.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Where's my avocado toast? Where's my avocado toast? And I want my latte with sprinkles. Lots of sprinkles. Thank you.